Thank you, Chair. Minister, this is my 49th speech on carers, and whilst I welcome the fact that Sinn Féin have brought a motion, I'm disappointed that Sinn Féin didn't come on as an opposition party much earlier to look for the abolition of carers, whilst she always maintained there should be a more streamlined approach and maybe a little incremental increase in that. You didn't look for the abolition. We've brought 2 motions for the abolition of carers as the regional group, my colleague and I, Sean Kenny, and my other colleagues. 2 motions, Minister, that you also accepted. And the reason you accepted them is because you weren't going to do anything about it. And here we are, maybe 24 hours out from an election, and you're accepting this motion again because you know you're not going to do anything about it. Now, the reality is that you've made a speech today which says that you're supporting 97,000 carers. Well, let me tell you, you're not supporting another 200,000. As per the last census, there were nearly 300,000 carers in this country, and we know that that has increased since the last census. My colleague said how we treat carers. We don't treat carers, we mistreat them. We're carrying out a means test that is, as it has been said 100 times, mean. We are actually assessing somebody else's income to penalise the person who is providing the care, to assess whether or not they have enough money and they don't need to be paid for the care that they do. But of course they should be paid for the care that they do. We don't means test job seekers' payments. At a time of when we're in full employment, we carry out reviews at a level of 12,000 per annum on carers, looking after their elderly or vulnerable children in their own homes, saving this state 20 billion, and we are reviewing them at a rate 5 times more than that of job seekers. People who we say could have jobs if they went out and looked for them. But yet we will not pay the people who saved the state 20 billion. And again, as my colleague said, that's not a figure that I made up. That's a figure that comes from proper PhD researchers in Maynooth College, paid for by Family Carers Ireland. Minister, it's incredulous that you can sit there, and I understand why you're not looking at me. I wouldn't be able to look at me either if I was 49 times standing up here saying the same thing. We have people who give up their jobs to save this state money. And we carry out a test on the people who they may or may not have a relationship with, but who happen to reside in the same household. And we know that 2/3, a little over 2/3 of them are women, and 1/3 are men. But the reality, and I think everyone knows it, if it was the other way around and we had 2/3 men, carers would be paid. There'd be no means test. It'd be as simple as that. But because they're women who primarily spend all of their time doing what they do, they have little time to advocate for the means test abolition. But I'm advocating for it since I was elected, for the simple reason that they appear at my door, or I go and visit them in their homes, and I see what they do 24/7. I have mentioned on this floor many times one carer who is the mother of 4 very disabled children, intellectually and physically. 4, and she's in receipt of 1.5 carers allowance, some maybe €400 a week. And she has no life. As she says, she provides the physio, the occupational therapy, the speech and language therapy, everything that would be provided if the state had to look after them, and probably is in a state saving of little over €1 million for carrying out that function. So it is beyond me that as this Dáil comes to an end, that we are still standing here pleading with government. And I do recognise the inroads that you've made. I just do not understand why we are penalising people who do a state service for everybody and save the taxpayer €20 billion. So I rest my case, Chair. I'm very disappointed that this has not happened in the lifetime of this government, and I certainly hope, whether I'm back here or not, that it will be prioritised by the next government. Thank you.
Thank you.